Yo, hello, welcome to the show, Varsity Sports Live. Tom Neiman along with Jandy and Jason. We're kind of tiptoeing through the latter part of the regular season here. Some games have been called off because of the pandemic, but we're kind of getting in what we can.
This was the first week I had to warm my hands up on the way home, so that means the playoffs are coming very close. And that's what's going to be more interesting to me is what happens when we can't get games in the playoffs, when teams have to forfeit rather than postpone or rearrange. That's going to be interesting, but let's just focus on this week, Tom.
Okay, let's do that. Let's start with scores in South Dakota. And Brandon Valley pulls away to beat Lincoln tonight, 41-21. Some highlights coming up from that ball game. O'Gorman, Tegan Schlemgen is on fire right now as the quarterback for the Knights. 4 more touchdown passes tonight. We'll take a look at that one as O'Gorman beats Washington. Rapid City Central takes out Stevens 32-28, first win of the season for the Cobblers. Highlights from that one as well. Yankton at home tonight beats Sturgis 20-3, so the Bucks get to 6-0. Brookings 6-0 as well. Great game here tonight on our network as Mitchell and Brookings go toe-to-toe, and Brookings wins at 44-25. We'll recap that one coming up as well. Pierre led here on 14-13, and the Govs pull away and win that one 35-13.
These are the two best quarterbacks right now in 11AA. Everybody's running the ball. These two teams are throwing it a little bit. Lincoln Keene holds 230 yards tonight. Cade McNeil, 242. But Pierre, even though they got down early, came back and played really well in the second half.
Governors get to 4-1 with that win tonight. Douglas and Spearfish postponed for the time being. T-Area pounding it on the ground again tonight. Highlights coming up on that one as well as they go over 400 yards rushing. Again, win 54-14. Del Rapids and Dakota Valley, great matchup in 11A. Dakota Valley scores with under 3 minutes left. They get an interception at the goal line to beat Del Rapids.
Del Rapids didn't really have their offense going, and that's been the problem the last couple weeks. Last week, they didn't get going until late in the game. Even when they played Mitchell a couple weeks ago, they didn't get going till late in the game, and it kind of burned them tonight. Give Dakota Valley credit. Kobe June came up with a huge interception to close it out for the Panthers.
First loss of the season so far for Del Rapids. They go to 5-1. Canton over Woonstock-Wessington, Springs-Sanborn, Central 27-2. We'll take a peek at that one. Madison tonight gets even at 3-3. Nate Rickey and Chris Reese, 2 touchdowns on the ground apiece for them as the Bulldogs win 46-8. Winner is 6-0 after a win over Chamberlain tonight.
Their second game of the week. They played Monday, had a great game against Mount Vernon Plankinton, came right back and took out Chamberlain. Winner's definitely on a roll.
Sioux Valley at home tonight gets to 5-1. The Cossacks over McCook Central-Montrose. We'll have some highlights from that one. Howard, number 1 team in 9A, 39-0 tonight over to Smet to get to 6-0.
I want to see highlights there because I'm surprised. I thought Smet would give them a much closer game.
And Warner also gets to 6-0 over Langford area tonight, 34-20. We will take a quick peek at those highlights as well. North Dakota finals tonight. Jody Norstedt's got highlights coming up from these first couple of games here as Davies is 5-0, 16-7 tonight over West Fargo. Fargo South comes back to beat Fargo North 23-22. Jody's got highlights from that. Bismarck Century, ouch, over Williston tonight, 71-0. The Patriots still number 1 in the big schools in North Dakota. Shanley and Red River will play on Saturday in Fargo. In 2A, the Squirrels go down again tonight, 22-20 to Kindred. Kindred's only played 3 games, but they've won all 3 of them so far this season. St. Mary's, big night from Cullen Curl as they get to 5-0. Jody's got highlights here in a moment. Devil's Lake at home on Saturday will take on Hillsboro Central Valley in a good matchup. Hillsboro Central Valley 4-1 going into that one. 4 overtimes for Wahpeton and Valley City. Wahpeton gets its first win of the year, 34-32 is the final in that one. In Class A in North Dakota, Langdon Edmore Munich gets to 7-0, 50-6 tonight over Bottineau.
Another week, another Romfo romp. 50 points again this week for them. Romfo, 3 total touchdowns in the first half alone.
Look at Lisbon. The Broncos 32-6 tonight over Thompson. Jordan Sowers, big night for him. Jody's got some highlights of that game coming up as well. Also in Class A, Velva. The Aggies 26-21 over Dickinson. Trinity, great matchup there. Velva gets to 6-0. Oaks over Oak Grove, 64-21. Oaks gets to 4-1. Grafton, a shutout win tonight. The Spoilers are 6-1 on the season, 26-0 this evening. Shiloh Christian, that is the final now, 34-13 over Bowman County. Highlights from that one in a moment. And in 9-man in North Dakota, Kidder County gets to 6-0, 30-14 tonight over Hettinger-Scranton. Lemoore, Litchfield, Marion, that's 3 weeks in a row now. They have scored at least 70 points. 72, 76, and 70, I believe, in the last 3 games for the Lobos as they get to 7-0. Cavalier and St. John both were 6-0 coming into this matchup. Tornadoes win it 38-0. Jody's got highlights in a moment. And Linton HMB, no report is what that NR, I think, stands for. Check that one, maybe if we get a final coming up later on. Mayport gets to 6-0. The Patriots had 3 pick sixes in the first half of that game as they win 62-14. And look at Divide County, knocks off Surrey, first loss of the season for Surrey, 36-6 in that one.
Couple Saturday games to watch for. Jody's going to have us locked and stocked and ready for a lot of highlights tonight.
Jody settling in up in West Fargo. I'll have him explain the helmets up there. Yeah, we'll get to him in a second. But let's talk about some South Dakota games we're going to have some highlights of coming up. You were at Roosevelt and, Brandon Valley was home against Lincoln tonight, and Brandon Valley kind of pulled away.
Yeah, those AAA games, not very many of them tonight. I thought they would be close. They didn't end up close. Brandon Valley pulled away in the second half, and O'Gorman pulled away from Washington in the second half. And really, between that and the Rapid City game, that's all we had in AAA all night. So
11 double A's.
It's going to be weird having that week off before you recharge and get back on.
Jody Norstedt, what's happening?
What's happening, guys?
How are you?
Surrounded by helmets. How do you like this?
Explain who you've got in front of you there, and then get to the highlights.
So big nights for teams like West Fargo, Fargo South. Packers trying to knock off a ranked Davies team. Bruins already in must-win territory to keep any playoff hopes alive facing North. And I have the Grover lid on here because it's one of my favorites. Tough loss to Oaks tonight. The Broncos of Lisbon beat Oaks last week and had another huge tilt tonight against Thompson, a team they beat twice last year. But we start with the top team in the big boy division, Bismarck Century. I tell you what, the mood after last week's 22-16 win against Minot was pretty mellow. They know that they haven't played to their potential yet this fall. Would they take out that frustration on Williston tonight in the lone game of the WDA this weekend? Williston playing its first game since September 4th due to COVID. We start in the first. Patriots are going to strike first. Cade Garcia. I don't know if Cade is a great dancer on the dance floor, but the young man has some moves on a football field. He finds the hole, and he is gone to make it 7-0. And then a block punt sets up Century right in the red zone. Garcia again takes it right up the middle. He's into the end zone. It's 14-zip. Century again in decent field position. This time they go to the air as Noah Schaffner is going to the corner of the end zone to Brock Johnson, who goes up and gets that one. Century leads it 21-0. Patriots humming right along in this one, still in the first. Garcia, this is just his 4th carry of the day. He goes back to the end zone, extending the lead. Patriots play like they were proving a point tonight, winning big 71-0 over Williston. Coyotes didn't have a chance tonight. Century gets Jamestown next week, a battle of unbeatens. Light load for the EDC tonight as COVID's shuffle continues. This was the marquee matchup. West Fargo hosting 4th-ranked and unbeaten Davies. But it's West Fargo with the loud start as Parker Nelson, the second leading rusher in the EDC, going off the edge, getting a good block and picking up a big gain. 2 plays later, Peyton Jancy is going to connect with one of the best wide receivers in the conference, in the state. Carson Hegerly sheds a tackle, makes it 7-0 Packers. Davies coach Wayne Weirmeyer not appreciating that start. He's undefeated as a head coach in his first year. Toward the end of the first, he's going to like this. Reed Hartness sending up a prayer, but Colton Olmey's underneath it. 25-yard connection. That would lead to this. Truman Weirmeyer, the son of head coach Wayne Weirmeyer, into the end zone, rumbling. The Bison commit. Jake Gibson trying to regroup his team for the second half. Halfway through the third, things were looking good. Jancy finds Seth Nyhoff, who makes a really good over-the-shoulder catch, but 3 plays later, Jancy's going to be sacked. He loses the ball. Nice push there by the Eagles' defensive line. They recover. That sets up a 42-yard field goal attempt from Pablo Nunez-Perez. Another field goal highlight. Pablo is one of the best in the state, too. That would have been good from 50 plus. 10-7 Davies. Then in the fourth, it's Hartness to Olmey again. This time, A little flatter, a little easier. That's for 6. Extra point, no good. 16-7 Davies. Then on 3rd and 9, West Fargo needing a miracle. So Janty throws up a prayer, but it's Almy who's there for the interception. Number 26 making big plays and letting the camera know about it. Not many style points, but Davies just keeps stacking win after win. They hold on 16-7. Next up will be that big matchup against Cheyenne with first place on the line. But for now, Almy and the rest of the Eagles will enjoy this win.
It was great, especially with the whole turnover with the coaching staff and the coronavirus concerns. You know, we didn't have the 2 games against the West to get started, and we're still sticking together as a team, and we're making plays.
We'll throw the compass out when these 2 rivals meet. South visiting North. The Bruins have won 8 straight in the series. They needed tonight's game badly. Otherwise, their streak of postseason play that dates all the way back to 1984, all but over. Big physical plays early in this one. Enoch Sibamana running wild here. The tough yardage run, 23 of them to be exact. And that sets up a field goal. Bruins up 3-0 early. North answers back. Daniel Butane hooking up with Jim Miller, the 4th, for 34 yards down to the 1, where Mason Lockwood locking down into the end zone, running over defenders. Mason, that's dirty, man. Puts the Spartans up 7-3 at the half. Sibumana returned the second half kickoff, and you're going to enjoy this highlight. 83 yards. His future team's going to play tomorrow. That's NDSU. But boy, Enoch making the big play in that one. What a start to the second half. Bruins back on top 10-7. North answers right back, though. This time Butane connecting with Jared Steinmetz from 25 yards out, and the Spartans take a 14-10 lead. How about those North Spartans? Next possession, South drives down the field. Colby Jones punches it in from 3 yards out. He was in for the injured Peyton Kessel, one of the EDC's best passers. But there was just no quitting the Spartans. This time, Butane to Kobe Schwartz, 16-yard strike. North up 20-14. On a busted conversion attempt, Butane drives into the end zone for 2 points, and it's a 22-14 fourth quarter lead. But this night belonged to the Bruins as Jones, again, the backup QB, he even went up to Cam Archigo, the leading receiver in the conference. Oh, they got mossed. The Bruins moved to 2-3 with a 23-22 win, a squeaker to keep their small playoff hopes alive.
Basically, the mindset is we're 0-3. Right now, we're fighting for our lives. Got nothing to lose besides playoff hopes. And right now, when that play happened, it's like I saw playoff dreams coming, and I just saw the hole and I ran. And I didn't look back because I'm looking forward to making the playoffs and not looking back.
Big play by number 9. It's October, and there's still a team in North Dakota that hasn't surrendered a point yet. That's St. Mary's, ranked number 1 in 2A. Could they blank 4th-ranked Beulah? St. Mary's strikes first. Cullen Curl, 4-yard touchdown run. And get used to hearing Curl's name again and again and again. That's been a theme for the team in blue this year. Another one from Curl, this one from 11 yards out, 12-0 St. Mary's. It's almost like his sister's playing hockey again for the Bismarck Blizzard. A goal from Curl, a goal from Curl. Now it's just touchdowns from Curl. Later, second play of the night here, Beulah's Nate Bates with a one-handed interception on the Jackson Mueller pass. Take another look. This is fantastic. One-handed, and it's pink on the sleeve. I'm sure Bates would say that's the reason why he was able to get it. Still 12-0, still no touchdown scored on St. Mary's until that. Trey Brandt, 6-yard touchdown run, 12-7. St. Mary's lead is cut down to 5. The Saints answer, though. First play of the fourth quarter, Curl with a little authority at the end of that drive. They make it 21-7 after a field goal later. Beulah not done. Nate Bates, tough guy touchdown run, getting to the outside and taking a little beating as he crosses the goal line. It's 21-13 St. Mary's. Beulah needs the onside kick to have a shot, and they get it. Are you kidding me? Ensuing drive is going to stall, though, for the Miners. 4th down, the attempt from Trey Brandt, and it bounces off the receiver's hands. There is no doubt, folks, St. Mary's wins it 21-13. They are the best team in Class 2A, but there's more work to be done.
It all starts up front. Our O-line did a great job. They're getting a good push, and we had some turnovers, but we overcame those, and at the end of the day, we got the win, so that's a good thing. Our defense had some good stands. I think we did a pretty good job of working with our offense. It's a pretty weird offense, but they know how to run it. They run it well, and I think we did a good job turning it around and taking those turnovers and sending them back the other way.
Boy, I think you'll be seeing that team in the Dakota Bowl. Top 5 bout with Kindred hosting rival Central Cass. What happens when you mix blue and red? You get pain or magenta. Depends on who you're talking to. Vikings playing their first game in 3 weeks after COVID interrupted their season. No rust on this pass. Max McQuillan to Ethan McKinney, the future Fighting Hawk, with a great catch. Sets up the first score. Eli Heinrich pinballs in. That would be one of his final carries, though. He ended up injuring his knee on the Vikings' next possession. He didn't return. That'd be a big loss. Vikings defense puts the clamps down early. Max Vikander, number 60, and Riley Sunram, the big 75, take team for the sack. Mid-second quarter now, Vikings facing third and long. McQuillan with a pump and pass. Great catch by McKinney, who picks up the first down and change. So they're in the red zone. Well, why not go back to the guy that is, 6'4"? Yeah, why not? McKinney making the tough stuff look so easy. The younger Vikings loving it. Squirrels trying to find an offensive spark. Wiersma, he had the 3-touchdown game last week, but he has the ball stripped. Matthew Pearson recovers for Kindred. That set off a flurry of turnovers. McQuillan deep to Adam Roden, complete. Only problem is he's on the other team. Squirrels finally show some life at the end of the half. Brennan Maggio chucking it deep to senior Logan Prochnow. Now don't pull on the jersey. You're going to stretch it out. Prochnow down to the 2-yard line. He had 130 yards receiving and a score. They're less than a yard away, and that's when I got that sweet camera shot. Next play, Sam Badger scores for the Squirrels. A Badger playing for the Squirrels. It writes itself. Central Cass goes for the 2-pointer. Maggio, though, intercepted. Caleb Klabundy with a big one because 2 points ends up being the difference in the end. Kindred had to hold off the road team in a 22-20 win. Kindred will try to keep things rolling against Wapton next week. Tough one for Central Cass, going against Hillsborough Central Valley. To Class A, Lisbon has outscored its opponents this year 224-20. The second-ranked Broncos opened a lot of eyes last week with a win over Oaks. Could they march one step closer to a region crown, hosting Thompson? Start at the end of the first quarter. Jordan Sowers takes a snap, takes it right off the edge, all the way down to the 10. Then first play of the second. Sowers, remember, he missed the second half of last week's game with a hip injury. Well, he's into the end zone, makes it 8-0. Next possession, Hunter Schultz. He's the one who put the team on his back last week against Oaks. Gets it to Kobe Rasmussen. Ball gets bobbled in the backfield. Thompson recovers, and the Tommies are going to capitalize. Kyle Odenbach finds Jacob Starkovic in the middle. Remember, this is the 8th grader from a couple weeks ago, making a move and into the end zone. Tommies trim the lead to 8-6 at the break. After halftime, Thompson punts after going 3 and out, and it's blocked by Caleb Olson, getting the mitts up there. Lisbon ball in Tommy territory. And this was a common theme all night. Sowers out of the backfield, direct snap, however you want to get him the ball. 16-6 in the third quarter. So after leaving the game last week with a hip injury, he looks just fine. He was on a pitch count, but he ends up scoring all 4 Broncos TDs. For the first time ever, Velva going against Dickinson Trinity, and it's a great matchup. Third-ranked Aggies at 5-0, and Trinity's rolling to number 4 in the polls. Velva opens the scoring late in the first. Gage Florence, fresh off a 4 TD performance last week, gets in from 14 yards out. Trinity counters Nathaniel Gillick, former game ball winner, right up the middle. Makes it 7-6 Titans. Back come the Aggies, though. Florence again finds daylight on the left side. That's where big tackle Caden Chadwick plays. Florence goes all the way, 78 yards, knees and elbows for the defenders. Velva wins a back-and-forth affair in this one. It ended up being a 5-point game at the end, 26-21. The Aggies continue to be undefeated as we take a look at the scoreboard here. Next up, though, a visit from Ned Rose. And Dickinson Trinity, that's no slouch either. That Killdeer team is playing pretty darn well this season. But Velva Aggies still unbeaten in the regular season. Trinity also keeping a watch on this game involving a couple other Region 4 contenders. Bowman County taking on Shiloh Christian. Skyhawks really starting to click. We start scoreless in the second. The Bulldogs on the move. They go to the ground. Riggs Rotenberger moving the chains. Same drive, third down for the Bulldogs. Skyhawks defense forcing the fumble. Isaac Herringer scoops this one up. He's going to go all the way untouched into the end zone. And the Skyhawks get on the board first. They lead 7-0. 3-minute offense for the Bulldogs. They're trying to get some points on the board, but the pass is picked off by Josh Coling. Good interception by number 2. It's a decent return. And then seconds to go in the first half. Michael Fagerlin, he's going to get into the end zone right next to the cameraman. Shiloh up 14-zip at the half. The Skyhawks pick up the big win, 34-13 on the night. They're at Heart River next week, but that's a big win against Bowman County this evening. Biggest matchup in 9-man taking place about 6 miles from the Canadian border. Second-ranked Cavalier visiting 5th-ranked St. John. One of these teams going to get their first L of the season. Tornadoes break open the scoring early, a 25-yard touchdown run. And then later it's a pitch to Brody Clushy. The senior is going to carve up that St. John Woodchuck defense. Mikey Dunn not 100% in this game. Had to miss some of this game for the St. John Woodchucks. He's been so good at quarterback. Cavalier up 2 touchdowns, though, and they weren't letting up. St. John having some troubles offensively. They cough it up, and then Brandon Clem is going to turn it into points, going in for the QB sneak here on the goal line. Cavalier wins it on the road at St. John, 38-0. So Cavalier, the runner-ups in 9-man last year, losing to Kidder County in the championship. They haven't lost a game this season. They moved to 7-0, beat an undefeated team 38-0. That is quite the statement to make. The last time Mayport-CG took the field, the Patriots put up 76 points. That was 2 weeks ago. Adam Sola's 5-0 squad hoping to light up the stat sheet again against Richland. Mayport-CG's first possession of the game. Cyrus Attram, another former game ball winner, calling his own number up the middle. And then that sets up a handoff to Christian Cantor, who stiff-armed his way down the sideline and in for 6. Big man running. 8-0 after the 2-pointer. Next Richland possession, Nicholas Thompson's pass is going to be intercepted by Logan Kruger, and Kruger is going to turn into a running back. Nice cutback, juke jive move, and he's got a convoy in front of him, and he's taking that one back for 6. He actually did that twice, and the team did it 3 times for the Patriots. They go up 16-0 after that one. Second quarter now, Mayport-CG ball at midfield. The screen pass to sophomore Ethan Bergstrom, and he's got some speed. He's going to just say, get out of my way. It's like swatting a fly out there. Patriots lead 32-0 after that score. They improved to 6-0 on the season after a big 62-14 victory over the Colts. That sets up a huge showdown next week with fellow unbeaten Lemoore-Litchville Marion. So Mayport-CG, not ranked right now, but at 6-0, and they can really make a statement next week against the Lobos. A lot of fun tonight. We have more games coming up tomorrow. Shanley's hosting Red River. Cheyenne, the second-ranked team in the state, plays against Central, but that game postponed because Cheyenne has been in quarantine a little bit with things going a little south on the COVID side of things. They will push that game back to the end of the season, so they'll play on October 21st when all the other EDC teams have a scheduled bye. So a lot going on. We'll wrap it up later, but South Dakota highlights are coming up next. Stick around for Tom and Jandy on Midco Sports Network, Varsity Sports Live.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance, Avera Orthopedics, and South Dakota State University.
Welcome back to Varsity Sports Live. Jandy, what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about football.
Football?
Let's talk about some football.
This was a good matchup tonight, Mitchell and Brookings.
Those guys knew what they're doing. There's some grown men playing running back for both of those two teams, and a lot of fun watching AA in general this year. And I remember last year, AAA was so much fun. It was so much parity. This year, AA's got the same amount of parity. I mean, Brookings had a nice game tonight, but, don't count Mitchell out.
All right, let's start with the little schools this week. We've got Smet and Howard in 9A, Jason. Smet at 5-1, Howard at 5-0 coming into this matchup. Onto the cloudy skies in Howard tonight. John Calise for the first touchdown of the night for Howard. Tigers up 8-0.
You never know who's going to carry the ball for the Howard Tigers. They got about 5 different backs who can get it done.
Tigers win up 15-0, and then on the ensuing kickoff, there's always action. Fumble by the Tigers. Lane Miller takes it back for another Howard touchdown, and Howard is rolling at 22-0.
another one of those guys who's been producing offense for Howard this year and Pat Rummel's team.
They go up by another score at halftime. Riley Genslinger pounds that in, and it is 30-0 home team at halftime. A little Smet D in the second half, though. That's Kalen Gary, great basketball player. Big stop for the Dogs there to keep the Tigers at bay for the moment, but a little Howard defense as well. Sam Osleson reaching up, snagging that. Taking it back on the return, and then Osleson with another catch here. This one's for a touchdown, though. Good throw, big receiver, taking it down, getting in. 37-0, Howard rolling in this one. The Tigers with a safety a little later on to cap it off. And Howard's for real, Jandy. They get to 6-0 with a 39-0 win tonight.
Yeah, earlier this year they went on the road, beat number 1 Canastota Freeman. They've been number 1 since, and people are still a little bit worried. You know, is this team for real? I'll tell you what, this team is for real, and the players, they believe it.
The Argus put out that the Smet was going to be the eventual state champion, so we used that as motivation this week, and we had to use it as another statement game for us for later this year. Most of us seniors now, our sophomore year, we played a lot of time when we went down to the Dome, and we flat straight up we got our butts kicked in the championship, and so we have something to prove this year.
Throwing the media under the bus.
I love it, Hank. Take that, Hank.
Yeah.
Tyson Spader, that was their quarterback. But Tyson Spader, Lane Miller, Ty Byer, Kiefer Klinkhammer, Riley Genslinger, Briar Feldhaus. I mean, Sam Osleson, they just bring out so many talented players on this team, and they're getting it done up front, moving people around. They beat a very physical team tonight. I think that was a huge statement game for Howard tonight.
All right, Howard gets to 6-0 in 9A. Let's go to 11B, Jason. Sioux Valley at home tonight in Volga, taking on McCook Central-Montrose. Both teams 4-1 coming into this game, and Carson Christofferson with an early pick there for the Cossacks. But Gavin Gordon figuring heavily into the highlights early. 34-yard pass. Cody Miles with the catch and the touchdown. 2-point conversion good. McCook Central-Montrose up 8-0.
And when they get up early, Tom, it's usually good night because they go to Kraus. But here's Gordon making plays through the air again.
Avery Fettrell with a catch there, and then Gordon on a 4-yard touchdown run here. And McCook Central-Montrose up 14-0 on the road. But Sioux Valley would come back, and they do, with Parker Peets. 39-yard throw there to Jackson Schiller, over the shoulder catch. Made it 14-6. Cossacks on the board though, and then here's your man Jacoby Kraus. Takes the big pitch.
This guy's averaging about 40 carries a game, about 300 yards per game. And like I said, when they have the lead, he is so tough to bottle up. He's been a huge, huge part of McCook Central's success this year, but then after the cameraman leaves,
they had the lead 20-6, and Sioux Valley roars back and outscores them in the second half to win it 30-20, and the Cossacks now are 5-1.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns unanswered. Parker Pitts, 2-yard run for a touchdown. Jackson Schiller, another touchdown, and then he had a 71-yard touchdown, Jackson Schiller that is, to cap it off and put some space between them and the Fighting Cougars.
Sioux Valley at 11B, a contender, yes?
Yes, they are. Definitely are.
All right, another 11B team here. Woonsocket-Wessington, Springs-Sanborn Central taking on 11A Canton.
Speaking of teams for real, this Canton defense is for real. They showed up again tonight.
Yeah, they're 2-2, but in 11A, there's still a ton of good teams. Zach Richardson, a tackle there. He sets a new school record for tackles tonight for Canton's Seahawks in this game. And then Peyton Eben, 40-yard run, will set up a Xander Elling touchdown, and the Seahawks go up 13-2 at halftime.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this team, we forgot about them a little bit, but they are the state champs. They brought back a ton of their linemen. They brought back their quarterback. They've got guys like Xander Elling, who didn't get much time last year. This is a team you have to beware of.
Elling with a second touchdown of the night there, 20-2, Canton in the lead, and then Eben going to keep it himself this time, right up the gut, 27-2 at that point, and Canton gets to 3-2 as they win it 27-2.
Yeah, that was a dominant defensive performance. I think in 11A right now, if you're going to rank defenses, Canton's got to be right there at the top. Them and T.
All right, speaking of T area, at home tonight against Lennox. T had 3 guys last week that ran for 100 yards plus, and they tore it up on the ground again. They start in the air, though. Garrett Colbeck, a little tricky there to Cade Schenzel. And the Titans off and running despite that flag. Here's one of their guys that can move it on the ground, Caden Johnson, 9 carries, 128 yards.
Yeah, this is one of their fastest players. Austin Lake has been so good running the ball as a quarterback, and Caden Johnson gives them that dual combo in the backfield, and they're explosive on offense.
Little Titan defense. Trevor Welch with an interception. He had a couple on the night. He's had a handful of them in the last couple of weeks, so the Titans get the ball back. They go on a drive, 8 runs in the drive here. That's Luke Redadoll, an offensive lineman at 250 pounds. And taking it in fridge style, 26-0, T in the lead. And then here's Trevor Welch stepping in front of another one. 3 picks in the last 2 weeks for Welch. Gets it back for the Titans, and they give it to Austin Lake this time, Jandy, and he will go 52 yards for a score.
He has been so impressive this year. He's thrown the ball a little bit, but he's really showing off his speed and his power combination. They rushed for 413 yards tonight and gave up -8. That's how you get it done, TV area.
Yeah, T ran 44 plays, Jandy. 39 of them were runs, and then they completed 4 out of 5 passes. 54-14 the final there. Brandon Fodness, a couple of touchdown passes for Lennox, but T area, number 1, gets to 5-0. All right, the game we had live on Midco Sports Network tonight, raining in Mitchell, and the Colonels coming off a 1-point loss and an overtime loss in their last 2, but they look good in the first half of this one. 14-play drive. Tucker Vilhauer caps it off there with a touchdown. And then a Mitchell fumble. The Cats go 3 and out, and Mitchell gets it right back. Short drive this time. Vilhauer picking his way in from 20 yards out, and Mitchell's up 12-0 on unbeaten Brookings, but the Cats coming back. Jackson Bowes had 3 touchdown passes on the night. Keegan Fields takes that one. Parker Phillips, though, back in there for the Colonels. 22 carries, 134 yards, made it 19-7, Mitchell in lead. But this is the man, Josh Burai, goes 62 yards on the carry here.
So hard to tackle. There's so many times he's shedding defenders.
I couldn't decide if Mitchell was not tackling or if Burai was making a miss. Probably a little bit of both.
He's done that all year.
Bowes to Max Struck. Brookings takes the lead at 21-19. And then what do we got? Brookings fumbles upon its own 3-yard line. Jace Larson got on it there for Mitchell, and then Josh Gross did it with a touchdown. He got a penalty for spiking it right there. Okay. Colonels, though, go back up 25-24. Cats right back at him. Burai, 46 yards. 266 yards on 19 carries tonight for Burai.
Par for the course.
And Brookings kind of took off from there. The defense holds. They get it back. Keegan Fields with a touchdown. 37-25. Bowes again went to Fields a little later on. 20 straight points for the Bobcats as they come back and win it 44-25.
I was impressed that Brookings showed they can throw the ball a little bit. That was good. Mitchell did lose their 2 top rushers, Tucker Vilhauer and Parker Phillips, both in the fourth quarter due to injury. They both had good nights, but couldn't keep up with the physical Bobcats.
Right, Brookings 6-0, and so is Yankton after tonight. Yankton at home tonight against Sturgis.
This Sturgis team,
defense.
They can play D. Haven't really showed it on offense, but they can play defense this year. And
Yankton's got a lot of good young players. Corbin Solar, 3 runs here and caps it off with a 15-yard touchdown run. It was 10-3 at halftime after a couple of field goals early in the game. And then a couple of sophomores here. Rugby Riken and Gavin Swanson are going to hook up on a touchdown pass right here to make it 20-3. And Jandy, Sturgis did the job defensively tonight against the Bucks, but could not get any offense going.
Sturgis is much closer to the pack than they have been in years past. Yes, they did take a loss here on the road. They've got a tough game next week coming up against, I think it's against Mitchell. I think we'll get Brookings on there, but I think they actually play Mitchell. And they need a win against one of those top 4 teams if they want to threaten to be a Final Four team.
So Yankton gets to 6-0 now. Yankton and Brookings both 6-0 in 11 AA. Let's get to the big class. Rapid City Central, Rapid City Stevens tonight on homecoming for the Raiders. Both these teams 0-5 coming into the game. Jandy, this is the opening kick. And look at Lane Darrow take off from his own 20. That's a touchdown on the opening kick for the Cobblers, 6-0 Rapid City Central.
They've got some great athletes on Rapid City Central, and they showed it with Darrow, and they made some plays on defense as well.
Yeah, trade some turnovers here. Stevens with a fumble there, but the Cobblers give it right back. Cole Meisman into the hands of Gavin Skinner to get it back for the Raiders, and then the Raiders come up with a big play of their own. Deep in their own end here, but Joe Weber, I believe, slips the tackle there.
And then what is this? What is this? He shouldn't be tackled here. What was that?
Stiff arm, baby.
Okay.
So it's 7-6. Stevens takes the lead there, but then Central takes it right back. Meisman to Micah Swallow. Look at this catch.
Oh, my goodness.
Would have been a flag on the Raiders either way, but touchdown for Swallow to put Central back in the lead 12-7. Raiders on a drive. Alex Trocamoinen with a catch there.
Tate Crossway, by the way, in at quarterback for a few plays. He threw that one. He's just a freshman, and he hands it off here.
Uriah Glenn, their little tough running back, touchdown there. Raiders go up 14-12, and Stevens would pour it on a little bit more before halftime.
But I tell you what, this one was fun, Tom.
Glenn again here, 45 yards, Jandy. So Rapid City Stevens leading 21-12 at halftime, but Cobblers come back winning 32-28. You saw the kick return there by Darrow, but Rapid City Central with its first win of the season in the Rapid City
This
show.
is a hard-fought game, and obviously a lot on the line. These kids all know each other, and Central makes a huge comeback to take the game.
Hey, in Sioux Falls now, Washington at O'Gorman, early kickoff at O'Gorman's home field there. The Knights come in at 2-3, but
Doink.
We got a doink early on the field goal attempt by Andrew Nelson. He would make one later on for the Knights, but Tegan Schlimgen has been unbelievable in the last couple of weeks. Didn't he have 6 touchdowns in the first half last week?
He did.
And he and Sam Stukel had the connection going in this one this afternoon. First connection between the two. Stukel puts O'Gorman on the board 7-0. Knights get called for roughing the punter here, and that is definitely what happened there.
Well, that was key. He was kind of out of the pocket, but he still roughed him, and that kept this drive alive. Otherwise, Washington had no business moving the ball. That's Carson Strom who caught that one.
So it's 7-7, but then Schlimgen hooking it up again. That is Harry Heiners. And then Schlimgen to Stukel on a little roll.
Why not? Let's start the Stukel party.
14-7 O'Gorman in the lead. Andrew Nelson, they did get that one to go through. So 17-7 O'Gorman in the lead at halftime, and then the Knights poured on a little bit more.
Oh no, not another Stukel.
Stukel, great throw, great catch by Stukel. They hooked up one more time after that. 4 touchdown catches on the night for Stukel.
That ties the school record. That ties the school record with Canyon Bauer for most touchdown receptions in a game. Huge night for Sam.
10 touchdown passes in the last 2 weeks for Tegan Schlimgen. So O'Gorman wins there. Sioux Falls Lincoln at Brandon Valley tonight. Both teams 3-1 coming in, Jandy. And
this guy took a couple of carries to heat up, but Tate Johnson gets it going off to the side. Scores in the first quarter, 7-0 at the end of one. Into the second quarter now, Lincoln starts to get the offense going. Tommy Thompson up and down the field finds Luke Smith for 7, tied it up.
That was on a 4th down play.
That was on a 4th down.
Lincoln 7-7, but
and they have a brief lead right here. Logan Needles puts one in, and they're on the bench saying, hey, we can do this all day long.
14-7, Patriots in the lead, but Jackson Hilton would score on a reverse. Brandon Valley got a field goal to go up 17-14 at halftime. And
I forgot to
Tate
put the reverse
Johnson
in
the second half. You forgot the reverse by Hilton, but
they scored a field goal right before halftime.
all right, so 17-14. Brandon Valley back in the lead at the half.
And then this is the second half, man. It was the Tate Johnson show. The Tater trots in for another touchdown, one of his 3 on the night. Joe Colbeck, what a powerful running duo if you got those two guys. So they came out and established themselves in the third quarter with 2 big runs right there. And then they finished him off at the end of the night with one more to Tate Johnson eventually.
Great picture of Joe Colbeck smiling after that touchdown on Jandy's Twitter feed, by the way. 3rd touchdown of the night for Johnson. Warriors did come back. They got a Thompson to Robert Hutchinson touchdown to make it 34-21, but Brandon Valley pulls away, wins it 41-21, and the Lynx are 4-1. Just that opening loss to Roosevelt for Brandon Valley so far.
They've been really physical. You can tell they're just beating teams up, and Tate Johnson and his offensive line did a nice job. We talked to Tate right after the game.
First half we were a little shaky, but second half we got some things corrected, just changed up some things and came out firing. I mean, put up some points on the board really quick, and it's a good second half. First half obviously came out a little slow, but I mean I think that's because of the 2-week break we had. But second half came out explosive, made big plays happen. So
big night for Tate Johnson. Big night for the offensive line. They did a good job moving people around. And Lincoln just couldn't stay with them physically in that second half. Tommy Thompson played well, but he took a lot of big hits tonight.
In a lot of years now with Brandon Valley, a great O-line and great running backs in the last 6-7 years. Keeping it rolling tonight. Let's go back to 9-man for some highlights here. Warner and Langford area, Jandy.
2.
Warner coming in at 5-0. Langford 4-1 coming into this game.
2 contenders. Warner we kind of forget about in 9A. They're an undefeated team just like Howard, and they started out with a nice touchdown to get things going.
Ty Kramer touchdown there for Warner, and then Lions looking to answer here, but Colin Fry picked off by Landon Leitholt. Warner didn't get any points out of that, but they get the interception anyway. Langford does come back and score on their next drive. Benton West shaking tackles, gets in on a tough 5-yard run, and the Lions take the lead 8-6, but late first half, Warner again. Jackson McNeil breaks loose, 35 yards. He comes down right short of the goal line, but the Monarchs would score to take a 12-8 lead. And then just before the half, Warner gets another shot. Hunter Kramer connects with McNeil there again. They're knocking on the door, but he fumbles it. Connor Smith, they gave it to Langford on the exchange of possession.
That was a big play in the game.
So Warner held out there. Warner up 12-8 at halftime, and they do hang on and win it tonight. Even after the nice play there by Connor Smith, 34-20 is the final, and Warner is now 6-0.
Great start for the Warner Monarchs. Again, a team we don't talk about enough in 9A. And Langford, even though they've got 2 losses, they're definitely a contender in 9B as well. 9B is going to be a lot of fun. Both those classes will be a lot of fun.
All right, a little more post-game coming up in our zone coverage. We'll hear from some of the coaches in North Dakota and South Dakota when we come back on Varsity Sports Live.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Avera Orthopedics, South Dakota State University, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Welcome back. Time for zone coverage. We'll get some more post-game reaction from some of the coaches, and let's go back to West Fargo and Jody Norstead. Jode?
Hey guys, how we doing? EDC, man, it's starting to get a little bit more interesting. Next week we have some huge matchups looming now, with Davies being undefeated, Cheyenne being undefeated, those 2 squaring off, and then we'll have a big one on Midco Sports Network with Shanley and West Fargo taking on each other. So 2 big matchups that we're going to be getting ready for. But Davies gets the win tonight. Again, it's not pretty with this team. Wayne Weremeyer's team is just winning with a little bit of grit. They run the ball well. They play really good defense. They get the victory, and Wayne Weremeyer just happy to still be unbeaten as a head coach.
The kids work so hard, week in and week out, and it's so hard to win a football game that when you do, you've got to celebrate. And I think you've just got to let a kid be a kid there a little bit. And in the midst of all this COVID stuff, I think sometimes they forget that it's okay to let loose a little bit and have fun, and so that's what we try to do.
And remember, this is a Davies team that lost its leading rusher, Ethan Ency. I think it was week 2 or week 3. that he went down with an injury. Colton Alme, the guy that just made that interception and shouted right into our camera, he's been taking over on the run game and picking up some slack. Truman Weremeyer, the Bison commit, with a big rushing touchdown tonight as well. So this Davies team looking pretty good, and they are going to get a Cheyenne team that, who knows, might show some rust next week. It's going to be a fun one with the Mustangs and the Eagles. Elsewhere in the EDC South, I mean, fighting for just a glimmer of a shot at making the playoffs. It's really still an uphill climb, even with tonight's win over North. But Tyler Colesville had to like the fight from his team. A back-and-forth game against rival North, but they get the big win against their rivals. I think just a one-point win, 23-22. Here's Colesville afterward.
The biggest thing, some of our athletes just stepped up. They got put in different spots, but at the end of the day, our guys want to come out and take care of business tonight. And hats off to North again, because they've played tremendous, and it was a very, very tough, hard-fought game, and we're happy to get on top.
So Enoch Stibumana with obviously the big kick return kind of set the tone in the second half. You'd think Colesville was probably alluding to him as one of those big players that really stepped up. That got banged up again early in the season, but was looking fresh tonight. St. Mary's, they finally gave up a touchdown tonight. That's one thing, but they really had to play 4 quarters for the first time all season. Beulah really took it to them a little bit, but St. Mary's was able to prevail for the very narrow victory, and they had to play 4 quarters, and Dan Smearker's team, simply put, they just got it done, and they keep on winning, and they keep undefeated in Class 2A.
They had to fight for 4 quarters. I haven't had to do that for a little while. But no, I thought we played hard. I thought we played physical. Defense, I thought, did a great job, considering the offense put them in bad positions a little bit. You know, I think we had 6 lost turnovers, and if you turn the ball over 6 times and still can win, so your defense has got to be playing pretty well. Offensively, I thought we played well, but other than the turnovers. So great battle. They're a very difficult team to play. They're very physical themselves. Like I said, I thought that drive we put together to go ahead up to get the field goal to go up 21 was an important drive for us. But very proud of the kids.
It was a 21-13 victory for St. Mary's. Another big win in 2A, guys. Wahpeton wins for the first time since 2018 in quadruple overtime. I know you guys mentioned it, but 34-32 over Valley City. That's a huge win for the Huskies on homecoming. One of the other big wins tonight, Divide County beats Surrey, hands Surrey its first loss, 36-6. So that region is all messed up with 3 teams, all with 1 loss. But some exciting football tonight, and we'll have some football tomorrow. And it seems like we're going to have football on all these crazy days. I think there's another game on Tuesday, teams trying to make up, but that's the scheduling shuffle that we're in right now.
And I know St. Mary's beat Beulah. Who was the Beulah kid that had the one-handed interception?
Yes.
That was the best highlight of the night.
Nate Batest,
yes.
And that was an unbelievable interception, kind of blowing up on social media right now, but what a play. I mean, I could not do that on my luckiest day.
I think you could.
Jandy?
I've seen you as an athlete. I don't think you could.
Good night,
Sorry,
Joe.
Jody.
Oh,
Sorry.
thanks, man.
Sorry. Maybe that's just basketball. He's probably a better football player.
Hey, got a football.
Sorry, Jody.
All right,
Next week.
JD, back in South Dakota, let's hear from the Howard Tigers, #1 in 9A, and they beat Smet tonight 39-0. You were surprised by the final.
I was. I thought Smet would give them a better game, but Pat Rummel talks about how they played so well tonight.
You know, the way our defense played tonight, they've been playing like that all year. Haven't given up much, and then our offense, we kind of did some ground and pound tonight, but it was a physical game. They play hard. They got some big guys, and I was just proud as our team as a whole for the game plan that we put in, and like I said, they executed it all 3 phases. Our special teams were great too. And they really wanted this game. It's been hyped up for weeks, and everybody's been talking about it, but we just went at it as the more physical team would come out.
And you said it before, Smet is a good team.
They're younger, but they're very physical, and they've taken it to a lot of 9-man schools this year so far, so big win for the Tigers.
All right, in 11 AAA in South Dakota, Brandon Valley beats Lincoln tonight 41-21, and the Lynx with that ground game of their own they look really good. Right?
Coming into the year, people question their offensive line. Were they going to be good? And Chad Garrow answered that, especially in the second half. He thought they played really well.
You know, both of our fronts, the defensive line got after Tommy. Man, he took a lot of hits, and And offensively, yeah, we were able to, I mean, you know, which was surprising a little bit. Just I thought their defensive line in the film that I'd watched had been pretty solid and stuff. But our guys are starting to come around. They've, you know, it's kind of a drag. We lost a game last week, but you know, it's you know, they're ready to go this week.
And they didn't lose a game. They just didn't play a game last week. But yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit of rust. They shook it off, got going in the second half, and dominated.
All right, Brandon Valley over Lincoln tonight, 41-21. When we come back, the rundown, one more big highlight from all the games in North Dakota, South Dakota tonight. Welcome back. Here's the rundown. A big play from every game we had a camera at tonight. In Bismarck Century, Kate Garcia and the boys roll up 71 tonight on Williston. Fargo Davies stays unbeaten, 16-7 tonight over West Fargo. State of North Dakota, Jandy South comes back and beats Fargo North 23-22 as the Bruins get to 2-3 on the season. Beulah and St. Mary's, great matchup tonight, 21-13. St. Mary's gets to 5-0 on the season.
That's the first points they've allowed all season.
Squirrels and Kindred tonight. Kindred wins it 22-20. Kindred's only played 3 games this year, but they have won them all so far. Thompson and Lisbon. How about Lisbon 6-0 now? Jordan Sowers 4 touchdowns on the night as they win it 32-6 over Thompson. Velva and Dickinson Trinity in a great matchup. Velva now 6-0 on the year, 26-21 tonight over Dickinson Trinity. Shiloh Christian 5-2 on the season now as Christian over Bowman County 34-13. And in 9-man in North Dakota, Cavalier and St. John both came into this game 6-0. Cavalier with the shutout 38-0 as the Tornadoes get to 7-0 on the season. And Mayport over Richland tonight 62-14. Big defense in the first half for Mayport as they stay unbeaten at 6-0 in 9-man in North Dakota. Howard over to Smet tonight 39-0. Jandy.
That's some defense.
Leeson with a touchdown there as they roll. Sioux Valley comes back to beat McCook Central-Montrose after being down 20-6.
24 straight points to end that thing.
Cossacks come back and win it there. Canton 27-2. Peyton Eben with a couple of touchdowns on the night for the Seahawks. T-Area rolling over Lennox, 413 yards on the ground tonight. Austin Lake with a touchdown run as they roll 54-14. Josh Burai, 266 yards on the ground as Brookings stays unbeaten with a win over Mitchell.
It's so fun to watch. So good.
Yankton stays unbeaten. The Bucks get to 6-0 tonight. Rugby Riken to Gavin Swanson with a score there, 20-3 over Sturgis. Rapid City Central gets down to Stevens, but the Cobblers come back and win it. Look at the catch there by Micah Swallow, and Rapid City Central over Stevens 32-28. O'Gorman, Teague, and Schlimgen, 4 touchdown tosses, all of them to Sam Stukel, who has a night, and the Knights roll over Washington 31-7, and Brandon Valley on top of Lincoln tonight. Tate Johnson, another big night for the Lynx.
Yeah, another big night. It's a lot of fun. We're a week closer to the playoffs, Tom. Can't wait.
See you next Friday on Varsity Sports Live.